There is more happening around you than what your five senses can register. So, if you've ever felt like there's something deeper running the show, something invisible yet undeniable, you're right, because everything is energy, you just forgot how to feel it. You live in a world of energy, but you've been conditioned to believe in only what you can touch, name, or measure. What you call a reality is just a slowed down version of vibration. And you've forgotten that you're not just in it, you're made of it. Every single moment of your life is an exchange of energy with people, with places, with time, with memory, with thought, with the invisible forces that shape your emotional and physical world. And this is where alignment begins, not by doing more, but by remembering what's already true. Everything is energy. So let's start with something very simple. When you stare at a white wall or look up into a blue sky and your eyes blur just a little bit, have you ever seen those tiny little dots or sparkles show up? Almost like particles flickering around. That's not your imagination, that's energy. Everything that is material is made of energy. And every single one of that material is moving at different vibrations, at different frequencies. The denser it feels, the slower it vibrates. And when you soften your focus, you begin to see the invisible matrix that makes up everything. It's so cool. You're perceiving life beyond the lens of logic. You're remembering what you already knew as a child, that the world is alive, right? And your body, it's also not just a biological machine, it's a frequency translator. You've felt it before. You've entered a room where something just felt off. You met someone who just felt off. And no one had to say in the room, no one had to say anything, but you felt the energy in the air. It was heavy, it was dense, it was cold, right? Same with the person. Like something bad is about to happen, or when it comes to the room, like something bad had happened there. Maybe you felt it in a house sometimes. You didn't see it, but you sensed it. Or maybe you've walked into a sacred space, a temple, a church, a forest, a quiet sunrise, and immediately your body relaxed, your shoulders softened, your breath slowed down. That was energy too. You didn't imagine it, you just automatically tuned into it. Another aspect when it comes to biology is your limbic system, which is the emotional part of your brain that stores deep memory through smell. For example, have you ever caught a whiff of a certain perfume or a type of wood or a certain spice and instantly felt something stir inside of you? Maybe a memory, maybe a specific person, a specific situation that happened, maybe a deep wave of emotion that you couldn't quite name. That's your energetic memory. That's why herbs, incense, oils, resins, and smudging are used in spiritual practices across the world, not because they are magical in themselves, but because they help you remember, right? They anchor you into frequencies that your body knows how to feel, even when your mind forgets. Now, think about the people around you and humans overall. You felt the difference between an interaction that leaves you completely drained and one that leaves you glowing and kind of recharged. Maybe you spent an hour with someone that just talked and talked and talked, and by the end, you felt just completely depleted. Your energetic battery was just drained, even if they didn't do anything wrong, right? Or maybe you spoke to someone who barely said a word, but when you left the room, you felt charged up, you felt uplifted, you felt more alive again. That's energy exchange. It's not just about what is said, it's about what's felt during that specific interaction. And the sun, which is the ultimate source of light energy, is another reminder. When you spend a day at the beach, lying under the white sunlight, your body gets heavy in the best possible way, right? You feel relaxed, you feel calm, you feel peaceful, almost like you're floating. And I am someone who loves the sun and the beach. I could lay there all day, every day, and I always feel recharged after having been outside for hours, just relaxing my body and letting it absorb those sun rays. And I know that I have the best nights of sleep after a long day in the sun like that, after a long day at the beach. But I have always asked myself why that is and why it happens so naturally, why it's so easy to feel that way, right? To feel this recharged. Well, come to find out that by the end of the day, you're not tired in a stressed out way. You're tired because you've received so much energy, so much good energy, and your body finally let go, right? You didn't do much, but your nervous system recalibrated. That's the power of light. That's the power of vitamin D. And that's also energy. Your body and soul remember, even if your mind doesn't quite understand it. Isn't that amazing? Even on a quantum level, science has caught up. You've probably heard of Einstein's famous equation: energy equals mass times speed of light squared. That means energy and matter are interchangeable. Take something physical like an apple, for example. Move it fast enough through time and space, and it becomes energy. Think of water. It can be solid, liquid, or vapor depending on its state. It's still the same substance, just vibrating at different levels. Now remember, you are 60 to 70% water. That means your entire system is designed for transformation. Your emotional body, your physical body, your mental body, they're all responding to vibration, even while your mind is still unconscious to it. Again, your soul isn't, your body isn't. That's because you're made up of energy, and energy remembers energy. And then came quantum physics and the discovery of what we now call entanglement, right? When scientists split a single atom in two, those atoms stayed forever connected. No matter how far apart they were, they mirrored each other instantly. There was no delay, no time gap. There was just instantaneous energetic connection. That's what we mean when we talk about the web of the universe. Everything is linked and nothing is separate. You also don't have to be an empath or a highly sensitive person to feel energy. That's only a myth that the woke culture twisted again. You're human. You're made of energy. So you feel it always. But whether you listen to it is another story. So even when you feel anxious or heavy or sick or misaligned, your energy is telling you something, right? Your frequency might be low. Maybe because of an environment, a situation, or circumstance, a person, a belief, or an emotion, whatever it is, regardless of what it is, your body responds to it. Your energy field dims, which causes you to be out of alignment, not morally or spiritually, but simply energetically. And when you learn how to read that, your life begins to shift because instead of reacting from turmoil and chaos, you recalibrate into truth. This is why alignment is also not some made up woo woo concept. It's about frequency. It's about how you feel, how you move, how you show up. It's about learning to attune your internal energy before you try to manipulate the external. Because something you have to realize is that your outer reality is a mirror of your inner frequency, of your internal world. What you attract, how you're treated, the opportunities that land in your field, the opportunities that you get, they are not coincidences. The people that you meet, they are not coincidences. They are energetic matches to your internal state. So if your life is a mess, whether that's your love life, your financial situation, your friendships, your professional situation, your or any other dynamic for that matter, that's on your internal state. Whether you want to admit it or not, it doesn't make it any less true. It's because of you. So if you want to change your life, you don't have to hustle harder. You need to align different. You need to tune deeper. You need to do inner work. You need to learn how to move your energy and how to recognize what raises or what lowers it. You need to learn to choose your state, how to choose your state. That's how you become magnetic, not just to love or success, but to peace, to anything that you desire, really. That's that identity shift that we're talking about. Everything is energy. Every thought, every feeling, every room, every moment, everything. And when you stop seeing the world as random and start reading it as vibration, you remember your power. That is when the game of reality really starts. You stop forcing alignment because you simply become it.